He doesn't get better than these folks. Actually, it will.
Hello everyone, my name is Lorella and welcome to my channel. Now I am beginning a mental health series called Borderline Personality Disorder. I will be uploading an episode a month, so in order to engage, please send through your questions and your comments to me directly or in the comment section below. To spread awareness, please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all them things that need to be done. Let's dive right in. Borderline personality disorder, or BPD, affects around 3% of our population. An individual's pattern of behavior is affected, resulting in unstable interpersonal relationships, lack of impulse control, and also negative self-esteem. Leading causes of why you would have it would be genetics and childhood trauma, be it physical, sexual, emotional abuse, or neglect. Another cause is also one's temperament and emotional nature, be it if you are irritable or perhaps you are also quite reckless or impulsive. Another cause is a neurological impairment when you are prenatally exposed to substance abuse. And lastly, how they interact with different parenting styles and attachment styles. So due to the trauma that they have in the past, they find ways of coping. And instead of finding new ways as they grow up, ways that are more healthy, they tend to hold on to these ways that served them in the past, but now in the present are quite detrimental to them. Some individuals may be predisposed to BPD as they inherit their genes from their parents. However, you can only really develop it based on your environmental factors in childhood. It is difficult to diagnose due to the comorbidities that you have around it, which includes mood, anxiety, substance use, and trauma-related disorders. This is why you're only diagnosed around late adolescence to early adulthood. Well, borderline personality disorder. It is in the name, but I thought I'd just explain briefly the differences between the three. So a disorder is a condition that causes disruption to daily human tasks. So perhaps I'm having difficulty with getting out of bed, getting my task done on time, sometimes even showering and brushing my teeth and going out with friends. Depending on the severity, it may lead to a disability if it limits major life activities. So I'm finding that I cannot go to work because I am so depressed, I am in such a rut, or my anxiety stops me from actually presenting in front of people, which is very vital, or even being around my family members is hard as a mother, for example. And so this can be seen as a disability. A disease is typically due to a very specific issue that can be narrowed down. And this is very different to a disorder where the causes are often quite subjective or unknown. So one is an unstable mood. They experience positive and negative emotions on a very intense scale, often changing throughout the day without very obvious environmental triggers. An unstable self-concept, either doubting themselves and their capabilities or thinking really highly of themselves. Then there's unstable interpersonal relationships, where they go from adoring someone to really despising them the next minute, and also forming quite intimate relationships with people very, very quickly. They really depend on another person to get their self-worth so that they don't feel so empty and lonely and worthless. But the issue is that, as human beings, we do disappoint each other, and so they use their black and white thinking and convince themselves that this person then doesn't love me, because if they disappoint me, that means they don't love me. They hate me, and so they have difficulty trusting others. And because of their fear of abandonment, they will use manipulation and control in order to make sure that they do not lose their partners. They engage in self-harming and suicidal behavior, and also impulsive behavior such as excessive spending, sex, reckless driving, binge eating, and substance abuse. So with all of those signs and symptoms and the distress, one would be very, very inclined to just take pills and think that that would get rid of the issue. However, mood stabilizers and antidepressants are only really given at low doses. And this is because it targets some of the symptoms, but not the main issue. So it could look at some of the comorbidities around anxiety and maybe mood. However, there are bigger things that it will never actually get rid of. What you actually need are the behavioral skills in order to self-regulate. That is why the most effective treatment is psychotherapeutic interventions, namely DBT or dialectical behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, mentalization-based therapy, or schema-focused therapy. If you can get it, the best to get is dialectical behavioral therapy. This is not only coming from research, but also from personal experience. The person who actually came up with it is Marsha Linehan, who had BPD herself. And the core aspects are emotional regulation, interpersonal effectiveness, distress tolerance, and mindfulness, all looking at the symptoms and how you can regulate. So I asked a friend of mine, how would she like to be supported? One thing about us is that we do not like to feel like we are a burden to somebody. And so we don't tend to ask for things. It's quite difficult. So if someone is quite mean when we ask for something, or just quite rude, the tone of voice is also quite important. Not always what you say, but how you say it. Then we're gonna stick that black and white conceptualization into place and say, you know what, this person was mean, this person was rude. I can't ask people for things. I can only rely on myself. So please just be kind, you know? It's a simple ask. Another thing that really helps is if you do not use the label against us. Using it as ammunition is not okay. We know that we can be quite sensitive, that we feel immensely. However, we're not trying to be over dramatic. So please never tell someone that they are being over dramatic, or tell them to stress less, you know, or don't worry about it. Do not use our label against us. But at the same time, also call us out on things, but in the right place. It's not a good idea to bring it up in conflict, because we just shut down in that moment if you do so. So if you're having issues with us, we can sit down and speak about it. Once again, tone is very important. So we have come to the close of our first episode. I hope that you learned something new and that you'll be able to apply it to not only people that are suffering, but also to human beings in general. Let's be kinder, more loving, more understanding. It's free. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.